Hello, everyone. So about 6 months ago, I did a podcast on a Navy Admiral, four-star, who was arrested by the FBI for evidently awarding a contract to a defense contracting company for roughly about $350,000. Allegedly, he received a job with this company for about $500,000 a year. So the FBI, arrested him and two of the executives from the company. Then later on, the judge separated the case between the two executives and this admiral. Nonetheless, there's been some new developments on this case. So evidently, the testimony of witness one is not on solid ground, and the lawyers on behalf of the admiral are trying to get it thrown out. Now, obviously he is innocent until proven guilty. However, the reason they're trying to get the testimony of witness one thrown out is because she happens to be a woman and his mistress. And she is the one that evidently informed the FBI or the authorities about his relationship with this company. And so they investigated and then pressed charges against him. So now here's the issue. So the lawyers, as usual, go after the witnesses. And so they're going after her conduct, her character, and her past life. Now, this woman evidently has some questionable allegations from a messy divorce that she'd made in the past. And so they're going after that and saying, hey, her testimony is no good because her credibility is no good. And that happens a lot. It happens. And then many times we call that, blaming the victim. But in this case, she's really not the victim because she was having an affair with this admiral. And, evidently they broke up. And so she made this complaint. So her testimony, they're trying to get that thrown out of the court. Now, here's the problem that I have. Now, if the FBI and other federal investigators went into this, obviously, they should have looked at witness one, the woman. They should have looked at her testimony and corroborate what she was saying and see if it was backed up by evidence. And if it was, yeah, then they accept it. If it wasn't, you move on. But nonetheless, so we don't know if they did that or not. The matter's still up in front of the judge. But the issue that I have with this is a four-star admiral, right? And he's having an affair with another lady while on active duty. And that, to me, is the fundamental problem. So I really don't care what was going on with this company and this contract issue. But the point being is you're a four-star admiral. While on active duty, you're having an affair. And that should not be discounted, right? So he should be, in my view, should be brought back to active duty and charged for conduct unbecoming an officer. Because anybody else would. And we've got case right now going on where a colonel at Wing Command in the Air Force is being charged for the same thing. And he's pending a court-martial. So why does this four-star get away with it? Now, this seems to be a trend where the senior you are in the military, the less accountable you are to the UCMJ. When the UCMJ applies to all of us. So nobody's exempt from that. I don't care how many stars you have, 1 or 4 stars. The UCMJ still applies to you. And you should be held accountable. And the greater issue is we're getting, now because this transparency, social media, we're starting to uncover many senior officer misconduct. And the problem with this is there's a tiered system of accountability. And if you're a senior officer, you're held above the law. And if you're a mid-grade or junior officer or an enlisted troop, you are held accountable to the UCMJ. That's wrong. It's obviously wrong, and that's a fundamental problem with the culture that we have. So, what can we do to fix this problem? Well, first is we need to make sure that our general officers abide by very strict federal ethics code of conduct. It has to be. And it's not only just general officers, but also politicians. And in my view, they should be barred from soliciting work for the military-industrial complex, lobbyists, or foreign governments. And we've got a ton of these people out there that are working for these organizations once they retire. It's a revolving door. You've got, the former Secretary of Defense, General Mattis, on the board of General Dynamics. You've got the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on the board of Lockheed Martin. You've got the former commander down at CENTCOM, McKenzie, working for a foreign lobby group. And so, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but it flows all the way down. 4 stars, 3 stars, and even 2 stars down there. So in my view, they should be barred for a period of 5 years, minimum. Politicians, general officers, you can't go work for these organizations. And what that does is kind of breaks the cycle and gives a gap, right? By doing so, we ensure that we are operating at the highest level of ethics and integrity as government servants and as military officers. So it's very, very important that we raise the standards of conduct and accountability. And if we don't do that, we're going to continue to waffle, as we have been for the last several decades. Our troops are fantastic. We've got the best troops, we've got the best training, we've got the best equipment out there. But unfortunately, our leadership is lacking, and the troops see this stuff. So consequently, you've got these lions being led by sheep, and that's a losing proposition. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to this Admiral. Let's see how it plays out. But he needs to be held accountable. One is the ethical situation that he put himself in with this company, and second is conduct on becoming an officer. Now this one, I'm sure the judge is going to decide if the evidence warrants a conviction or not, and that's fine. I get that. But this one, where we know the woman has admitted to it, and see if he admits to having an extramarital affair while on active duty, and that's conduct on becoming an officer. That's pretty cut and dry, and he needs to be held accountable. That's all I got. Stay rugged. Khan out.